Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LTV Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Sunday, May 31st, 2020. Yes, it is nice, hot in the heart of Fort Lauderdale. I'm at Downtowner Saloon, located at 10 South New River Drive, in the heart of downtown Fort Lauderdale, by the jail, courthouse, southeast section of Andrews Avenue Bridge. Good folks, great historical area. Check it out. You can tell them, look the third sent you. Always support the local shops. And first and foremost, I'd like to dedicate this episode to a colleague of mine I knew from the punk rock scene, local music scene. And his name, and actually a listener of my show. His name was Lance Landhurt. Recently passed away while during open heart surgery. I remember him on Facebook. His last thing he posted was, "I'm heading over there and I'm too tough to die." I'm just paraphrasing. It's a real shame because he was a good man. You know, he had the same taste in women, him and I. But it's okay. We got along real good. You know, claimed I was like one of his girls, but her and I were very good friends anyway. It was about, we laughed about it later on. And he requested to be a friend of mine on Facebook, which is cool because we knew each other from that time. And enjoyed my podcast. We always have great conversations on some of my episodes. So, my friend, may it so be forever free. You won't be forgotten. I know a lot of people out there that do love you. And legacy shall live on. I know you'll be up in the spirit world now, probably telling everyone, the people you care for or cherish, give them the guide of light, okay? Yes. Interesting times we have here, my friends. A lot of chaos worldwide. Of course, talk about the George Floyd Protest, the riots. A lot of protests are calling out the infiltrators, agitators, plants, provocateurs. And that's the truth. It's just they're still over there trying to stir up the pot. You got some awesome folks out there that are really want principle, stand up for what's right. And of course, with the community, with government and communities, it's been a major cause and effect for long periods of time. You can even, what happened in Minneapolis, there's a lot of history the past 10 years which has been going on to certain folks. Most of them are black. You got even ones who are Hispanic and whites as well. So they're just an example. And of course, centralization funding from Homeland Security, militarizing the police departments on a local and state level, even on a federal. That's been a burden. And a great amount of these individuals within this particular institution believe they're an entitlement and they're above everybody else. I'm not saying all of them are like that. So we can't just go collective witch hunting. That's very dangerous. We've got to look for the bigger cause. Government's a parasite society, but always beware of the controlled opposition. And of course, the mainstream garbage media love anything that's interracial, anything black or white, people getting killed, raped or murdered, and the assailants, whether black, whatever they are, aforementioned, they want to exploit the daylights out of it. You know how I am. People have heard my shows for a very long time. I'm always trying to be down to the point. Stick to my principles. So what's been going on right now, I see a lot of hired fools. A New World Order coup. Mind Control 101. Of course, you got folks out there saying, "Oh, most of the protesters are assholes," or excuse my language, or troublemakers. I disagree. I've been watching stuff on Periscope and Twitter videos. There's some people out there, protesters, are calling these individuals out. And I thank them dearly. I pay homage to those folks. And even the ones that are getting brawls like what happened with the police in Chicago. One innocent lady girl tried to break it up. There's even one photo in Louisville. Cops are getting battered in Louisville. And a bunch of men, even if they were black, don't matter, protected them from being injured. No one believes in never beat anyone when they're down. It's more unethical, not racial. Tyranny has been an epidemic for a long time. We always got to be aware of those opportunists. I'm going to take advantage of every single one of us. So before I'm going to continue on my viewpoints in this matter, I'd like to thank Mr. Mbofana, wrote a great article pertaining to this. And it's from the Zimbabwe situation. That's the name of the newspaper, the website. And I will post this on my speaker page. Why is it okay for blacks to kill blacks, but an utter outrage when whites kill blacks? Here's what he has to say. As the whole world is thunderstruck by the unfolding scenes of massive anger-fueled protests in the United States of America over the barbaric and savage killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, by 4 white police officers, one cannot help being engulfed by a similar sense of repulsion and outrage at this seemingly never-ending pattern of a violent contempt of the sanctity of human life by the police force, not just in the U.S., but throughout the world. Furthermore, in the U.S., this is not merely about police brutality, but the apparent racist nature of the senseless violence, in which, according to recent statistics, far much more black men are likely to be killed at the hands of white police officers per 100,000 than white men. Thus, the fury being vented on the streets of the most major cities in that country, most notably Indianapolis, where the villainous act occurred, is perfectly understandable. In fact, the U.S. has an unviable long dark history of racially inspired brutality spanning back to the days of slavery, culminating in the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s with the likes of Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. Yes, has never been completely and satisfactorily purged out of the nation's system. However, while some of us on the other side of the globe, Africa in general and Zimbabwe in particular, have found especially disturbing its police brutality aspect of the whole scenario, as we can easily identify with the Americans, for we have endured such untold heartlessness and barbarity for us as long as any one of us can dare remember. Similar to our U.S. comrades, we also have been subject to police brutality, notably not only as a form of state repression, but also irrational cruelty on the part of an apparently poorly trained institution. This concerning scenes of police officers discharging unparalleled ferociousness of an unarmed and defenseless people are not uncommon, especially when dealing with anti-government activities and protests, with the cold-hearted beating up of the elderly and women not even taboo for these officers. Moreover, lately, in the wake of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, this menace has witnessed a worrying upsurge as law enforcement agents have explicitly doled out of instant justice on supposed lawbreakers with ferocious zealousness, leading to the death of some victims, realist of fortunate ones, for lack of better word, have been left readily, severely bruised, and obviously psychologically traumatized for the rest of their lives. Nonetheless, what has pushed me to write this article is not necessarily the issue of police brutality per se, as it's disturbing as it is, but the seemingly lopsided and double-standard global approach to these cases. Willis is completely justifiable for the word to be utterly disgust and outrage over the recent and recurring incidents in the U.S. of white on black people brutality. There is, however, an uncanny, unsettling, deafening global silence when it pertains to black on black police brutality, which is largely experienced this side of the planet. Could there be some underlining and unexplained reason for this? Because quite frankly, most of us are failing to put our heads around this. If I'm not mistaken, the last time any real and significant united global outpouring of rage over police brutality that had taken place in countries such as Zimbabwe and even South Africa were during the colonial and apartheid days, when the violence was largely, through, not limited, penetrated at the hands of white officers and sanctioned by the white regime against predominantly defenseless black population, similar to what is transpiring in the U.S. today. Needless to say, we've ever since we attained our so-called independence from colonial and apartheid rule, despite the fact that the police brutality continues largely unabated, the world suddenly appeared not to see it anymore. It was as if just because it had morphed into black-on-black police brutality, it had instantly become camouflaged and blended into itself, such that it had become invincible. Whereas such police brutality carried out during the colonial and apartheid era would attract non-stop global media headlines, ostensibly galvanizing everyone's repulsion and contempt, irrespective of color, creed, nationality, and ethnicity. These days, in independent Zimbabwe and South Africa, similar barbarousness would hardly catch even a neighboring country's attention, let alone the global audience. After the latest U.S. incident on white on black police violence, we witnessed multinational institutions such as the United Nations and our very own African Union rushing to issue statements expressing their grave condemnation. Yet, correct me if I'm wrong, not even so much as a murmur has ever been uttered by these organizations, especially our kin and kith at AU, when our black regimes have descended heavily on fellow black citizens with disproportionate force and murderous. Why is it somehow alright for blacks to violate and even massacre other blacks, but unequivocally unacceptable for whites to do the same on blacks? I would just want to imagine if what happened in Zimbabwe on August 1st, 2018 and mid-January 2019, when the country's security forces heinously and cold-bloodedly shot down scores of unarmed protesters in the capital of Harare. Excuse me. Hopefully I pronounced the name correctly. Has been carried out in the New Orleans, U.S. at the hands of white officers against black demonstrators under exactly the same circumstances. Would the UN have kept quiet? Would even AU and the South Africa developed community kept quiet? Would we not have witnessed analyst after analyst describe in the utmost gravest detail of how this act had been and told the satanic nature of racism? So, if it is no longer satanic and evil when black people and black regimes maliciously attack their black citizenry. Please, let us not normalize what is not normal and can never be normal. Can we not already see the mayhem of the African continent when the Zimbabwe regime gruesomely and brazenly butchered over 20,000 innocent men, women, and children, including unborn babies, gouged from their pregnant mothers' wombs with military bayonets of a fellow black tribe? What did the international community say? Nothing. When the same Zimbabwe regime hacked to the deathbeds of supposed opposition supporters, forced their family members to eat limbs of severed from them, whilst others were burnt alive in their homes after the ruling ZANU-PF party lost the presidential elections, was the global community shocked? No. When the opposition and labor activists are repeatedly allegedly abducted, beaten up, and even heartlessly sexually desired, does the world stand up? Not at all. Is that why not much is being done by the global community to resolve these conflicts? Because these are merely blacks terrorizing and killing other blacks? Is that in itself not a form of racism? Is it about time that the world also regarded the genocide, brutality, and atrocities being committed by tyrannical black regimes against their black population with the same outrage and condemnation as what we are correctly witnessing today against the white police brutality on a black man, on George Floyd? There is no difference between these cases, and there should be no difference. We are all equal human beings, and the more we continue segregating the two forms of subjugation, the more we are entrenching and normalizing racism. Damn right, he is damn right for sure. I'll be very frank, my friends. My family were practicing Jehovah's Witnesses way back in the days. I attend these conventions, assemblies. I remember the time around 1978 or 79, International Convention, Shea Stadium, Queens, New York, Flushing's district. Met folks from around the world. I was like a little kid anyway. I was like 10 years old. And I met this beautiful family from Nigeria. The young man's real gently, and he had his mother, elderly mom. Hey, could we sit here and have a little chat? Well, yeah, sure. And the mother was awesome. And we all got along, had a little conversation. And she was telling us the tyranny was going on in Nigeria. You can look at the Nigeria crisis in the 1970s. I'm not making this up. No one cared about it. Everyone talked about South Africa, but no one gave a damn about them. And how about the time that in Uganda, the hidden genocide by Idi Amin Dada, slaughtered 300,000 people, mostly Christians. Not a peep. See, we got exposed when they hijacked innocent people from Israel, like not hijacked, but the Palestinians did hijack a plane from Israel, and they stayed in hold on for a moment. I got a little bit distracted there, folks. One moment, my friends. I'm just going to be right back. I will continue on here. Sorry about that. Looks like someone called me. But no one cared. No one gave a damn. See, this whole thing about the whole black and white thing, they exploit the daylights out of it. The people in the United States better start waking up as well. Because all these they're all becoming herd conformists wearing cowbells around their necks. But I remember all these things, even when I was a young man, for goodness sakes, about the tyranny that's going on around the world, including Africa. But the mainstream media don't want us to know about it. Give me a break. Getting caught in the propaganda machine. But I do pay homage to this man. He was spot on. You can't refute it. Anyone try to defend it, have no merit. And this is why you gotta look at things in the bigger picture. What's going on here? And I find it very disheartening. And you got the troublemakers out there, the infiltrators, the plants, the provocateurs, trying to make this more of a burden, punishing other people, punishing others for having a business. Doesn't matter what their background is or heritage. They can care less. So, however, I'm going to be add this to the matter on Keo Bono benefits, because everyone talking about George Soros is involved in this matter. So I'm going to do a little read from the law by Frederick Bastate. Philanthropic Tyranny. While society is struggling toward liberty, these famous men who put themselves at its head are filled with the spirit of the 17th, 18th centuries and 18th centuries. They think only of subjecting mankind to the philanthropic tyranny of their own social inventions. Like Rousseau, they desire to force mankind docilely to bear his yoke of the public welfare that they have dreamed up in their own imaginations. This was especially true in 1789. No sooner was the old regime destroyed than society was subjected to still other artificial arrangements, always starting from the same point, the opulence of the law. Listen to the ideas of a few of the rising politicians during that period. St. Just. The legislators command the future. It is for him to will of good of mankind. It is for him to make men what he wills them to be. Robespierre. The function of government is to direct the physical and moral powers of the nation toward the end for which the Commonwealth has come to be into being. By Lou Varness. People who are to be returned to liberty must be formed anew. A strong force and vigorous actions are necessary to destroy the old prejudices, to change old customs, to correct depraved affections, to restrict frivolous wants, and to destroy ingrained vices. This is the inflexible austerity of Lycurgus created the firm foundation of the Spartan Republic. This weak and trusting character of Solon plunged in Athens into slavery. This peril embraces the whole science of government. This is what Pelletier has to say. Considering the extent of human degradation, I am convinced that it is necessary to effect a total regeneration and, if I may so express myself, of creating a new people. Sounds familiar? George Soros, Open Source Foundation. Damn right. Look what's been happening on that. That's why many of us in the 1/3 of the states, like-minded folks, notice the New World Order coup. It's not organic. Many people say it's anti-flood. Maybe others are putting articles out. Oh, it's the white supremacist. See, there's a lot of these little buzzwords get people distracted. Well, I call them all tyrants. Whoever's involved in this are treasonous parasites. They make Benedict Arnold patriotic. They're nothing more than Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas to the global elitists, Jorge Soros's butt lugs. It's been proven. Just watch those videos. People are even the protesters were insulted by this. And you hear all this deceptive rhetoric, Black Lives Matter, or ACAB, all cops are bastards. Okay, you hear that. You hear, let's destroy a white nation, kill all white people. Okay. We can go on. That's nothing more than deceptive rhetoric. These folks are nothing more than psychic vampires trying to drain your energies and live through fear and belly up to them. Liberty matters, my friends. We're all minorities here, ethnically speaking. Let's look at all of our backgrounds. And they believe that certain people have privileges. Please. More mind control propaganda. And anyone that participates in this will blow back in your faces when least expected, and your employers will leave you out to dry. Mark my words on that. You are the enemy. You use the other protesters to try to take advantage of your bosses, benefit your bosses. Well, you know what? It's not going to happen. You are being exposed for who you are. And all those people who are true protesters for peace and justice will attest to that. And you know what? That's all I'm going to say. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout the social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send something that's interesting I want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave those two links, the footnotes on my Spreaker page. And if you want to do a donation, that'd be great. You can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.